Members, under reports of committees, maybe please read the report.
Madam President, the Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Communications, to which was referred, Senate Bill 34-8X, reports the same back with the recommendation do pass, be adopted.
Thank you. Senator Padilla, for what purpose do you rise?
So, when appropriate, request to unanimous consent to take up SB 34 in the 8th Extraordinary Session without reference to file.
Without objection, to take up SB 34, just passed out of the Energy and Utility Committee to the Senate floor. Seeing no objection, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 34 by Senator Padilla, an act relating to energy and making an appropriation therefore.
Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, before you is Senate Bill 34 in the 8th Extraordinary Session, which I introduced a couple weeks ago to help expedite 11 solar thermal power plant applications that are currently under review at the California Energy Commission. The reason for the urgency is that these plants have been designated to receive Recovery Act grant dollars and have deadlines for breaking ground before the end of the year. But in order to break ground, they need an answer from the Energy Commission of approval or otherwise. And so my intent with this legislation is to provide the Energy Commission with procedures and resources to help expedite their review process and decision-making. The bill has been amended to offer 4 specific measures. First, to direct the Department of Fish and Game to develop a strategy and plan for mitigation of wildlife impacts in the Mojave and Colorado desert regions, and for this mitigation plan to be supported by fees paid by renewable energy project developers if they choose to provide a fee in lieu of the actual mitigation measures. That's number one. And by the way, these 11 solar thermal plants are all located in this desert region. Second, we seek to eliminate some legal communication barriers between the Energy Commission Siting Division staff and the Energy Commissioners themselves, commonly known as ex parte communications restrictions. Third, we seek to allow project developers to pay additional fees to support the hiring of third-party consultants by the Commission. We know that workload is a serious issue at the Energy Commission and is limiting their ability to turn around the review and decision-making in a timely manner. By the hiring of third-party consultants, we hope to shorten the time frames for those applications to be processed. And fourth, we seek to authorize a recruitment and retention differential pay program for the Siting Division staff. We've had recruitment and retention issues there for some time now. I want to go on record being abundantly clear that by no way am I suggesting that we relieve any project developer or any project application of the CEC's environmental review requirements. We're simply seeking to accelerate the time frame for the review and decision making by the Energy Commission so that we don't lose out on Recovery Act dollars and jobs for the state of California. I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Senator Wyland.
Madam President, members, I'd just like to rise in support of this measure. Although I am not normally someone who believes in higher cost energy, because I think it makes it more difficult to have businesses stay in the state, I think in this instance we have federal dollars available, which is our money. We have projects that are already in the pipeline, and it seems to me that it makes sense in this instance to use those federal dollars, our money, to get these projects built and meet the end of the year deadline. So I rise in support of the bill.
Is there any other discussion or debate? Senator Padilla, you may close.
Just to add that this measure came out of Energy Committee with a 10 aye votes, no votes. Ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Correa? I. Cox. I. Denham. I. DeSaulnier. I. Duchesne. Dutton. I. Flores. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hollingsworth. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. Romero. I. Runner. I. Semidian. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. Wiggins. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee I. Duchesne I. Madam President, ayes 33, no 0.
Ayes 33, no 0. The bill is passed. Members, let me turn to privileges of the floor. I just want to call to the members' attention. There is an article, an opinion piece in today's Los Angeles Times, authored by our colleague, Senator Lowenthal. It is a superb piece of writing on the confirmation of Senator Maldonado, and I would just urge you to take a look at that fine opinion piece. Congratulations, Senator Lowenthal, on that work. Also under motions and resolutions, Senator Duchesne, for what purpose do you rise?
I need to move to suspend Joint Rule 10.5 for the following bills to be heard today, AB 5, 11, and 12.
Secretary, please read the motion. All right. Secretary, please call the roll. This is to suspend 10.5. It does require 27 votes, members.
Onnested. I. Alquist. I. Ashburn. I. Calderon. I. Cedillo. Cogdill. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. Cox. I. Denham. I. DeSaulnier. I. Duchesne. I. Dutton. I. Flores. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hollingsworth. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. Romero.
Aye.
I. Runner. I. Semidian. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee I. Liu I. Madam President.
Ayes 35, no 0. The joint rules are suspended. Senator Duchesne, which item would you wish to begin with?
Assembly Bill 5?
Assembly Bill 5. Secretary, please read.
Item 2, I guess. It's item.
Assembly Bill 5 by the Assembly Committee on Budget, an act relating to state finance and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Thank you very much. Madam President and members, this bill gives the controller the flexibilities and authorities he needs to manage our cash flow through the rest of this budget year and into the June-July period, should it be necessary to take some extraordinary deferral measures in order to manage our cash flow and avoid the IOU tax refund situation that we had last year. By doing this now, we give everybody who might have a deferral notice. They have an understanding of what the possibilities are. And again, members, this only gives the controller the authority if he needs it. In fact, the one for March, April triggers off if he doesn't have to use it, which many of us believe he may not. But it does give assurance both to ourselves, to our vendors, to our districts, to our cities, and to the bond markets to know that the controller has these authorities in place and the ability to manage our cash flow in a way that will ensure that all our bills get paid and we don't fall back into the pattern of IOUs and not paying tax refunds and such that we got into last year. Language in the bill does exempt deferral payments to small counties and cities under 50,000 and school districts and community colleges who have financial financial hardships. It should address rating agency concerns. Ask for your aye vote.
Is there any discussion or debate? This is an urgency measure. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. Dusanier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero.
Aye.
Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee no. Correa no. Harmon aye. Cedillo aye. Padilla aye. Madam President.
Ayes 37, noes 2 on the urgency. Ayes 37, noes 2 on the measure. The bill is passed. Second item, Senator Ducheney.
File item 5.
File item 5. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 11 by the Assembly Committee on Budget, an act relating to transportation.
Thank you very much. Madam President and members, this makes available to many of our transportation projects a letter of no prejudice, which the CTC, the California Transportation Commission, can grant in order to advance projects for those who are awaiting certain bond funds which have been delayed. Because of delays in funding bonds over the last couple of years, there are projects that were dependent on them that this bill will allow to move forward to create the jobs that those projects have and not prejudice the project in receiving bond funds that they would otherwise be entitled to at a later date to make up for that. It's an important measure for many projects throughout the state. Ask for your aye vote.
Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam President. I also rise in support of this bill. Just to clarify, this is no cost to the state. It extends the same privileges to Prop 116 projects as we did last year to Prop 1B. It gets jobs out there by front-loading these projects with local money that will be backfilled by the bonds later that they would be getting anyway. We're doing a similar thing with school bonds. I ask for your aye vote.
Senator Correa.
Thank you. I also rise in support and just wanted to point to my colleagues that to Orange County, this measure means more than 6,000 jobs. 6,000 jobs ready to go. Ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no other discussion or debate, Senator Ducheney, you may close.
No, thank you very much. Ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. Dusanier. Aye. Ducheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero.
Aye.
Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee aye. Calderon aye.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The bill is passed. Final item, Senator Ducheney.
File item 14, Madam Chair.
Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 12 by the Assembly Committee on Budget, an act relating to port and maritime security and making an appropriation therefore.
Thank you very much, Madam President and members. Similarly, this bill will allow certain projects to go forward now that have been delayed due to the inability to get Prop 1B funds out as we should have in prior years. This would extend the date by which local agencies have to complete their port security projects using the 1B grant funds that were authorized for that purpose. It moves the dates from the end of the current fiscal year to the end of the budget year in June 2012, providing 1 or 2 years for additional project completion. Again, members, folks had these projects ready to go. They got delayed in being able to finance them, and now, because they haven't been able to start them, they need the extension to complete them in a timely manner, and again, use those funds to the best extent possible. Ask for your aye vote.
Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero?
Aye.
Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The bill is passed, and Senator Ducheney is requesting immediate transmittal to the Assembly. Is there any other item to come before us in the 8th extraordinary session? Seeing none, members, we are now going to recess the 8th extraordinary session and reconvene the regular session. Is there any further business in the regular session? Senator Walters.
Madam Chair, an adjourn in memory.
Please proceed.
It is with great sadness that I rise to adjourn in the memory of Teresa Hu Yi Lu Ko, who passed away on February 5th, 2010. Mrs. Ko was born on December 6, 1926 in Huan, China. In 1945, she married her husband, John, and the two of them moved to Taiwan. In 1978, Mrs. Ko and her husband immigrated to the United States, where they owned and operated a small convenience store until they retired in 1985. Mrs. Ko understood the importance of education as well as community service, and her family has continued to donate to various charitable groups around the world. She is survived by her children, 11 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. She will be sorely missed.
Senator Walters, our deepest condolences. Please bring the name to the desk. Is there any other item to come before us? Senator Wright.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, some of you may know Catherine Agard, who has been around the building for a long time. Her mother passed over the weekend in Alameda County. Her mother's name was Alma. She was 81 years old, and she'll probably be funeralized this weekend in Alameda County. She'd been in the hospital. Catherine was there, so not to say that it was a joyous occasion when anyone loses someone, but she had a very eventful life, and her daughters and her family were all at her side at the time of her passing. So I just ask you to say a little prayer for Catherine Agard this evening.
Senator Wright, thank you for bringing that notice to us. Please bring the name to the desk. Senator Correa, for what purpose do you seek recognition?
I'd like to see if I could take up ACR 100 right now.
ACR 100. Secretary, please read. It's item 34. 35.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 100 by Assemblymember Jones relative to teen dating violence.
Thank you, Senators, Mr. President, Madam President. This resolution designates the month of February as Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. Most of us parents are surprised to learn that 1 out of 10 high school students has been hit, slapped, or physically hurt by a boyfriend or girlfriend. Teen dating violence often leads young people to miss school, and it can put victims at greater risk of substance abuse, eating disorder, suicide, and adult recidivism. I ask your adult recidivization. Thank you. Say that 10 times. I ask your support for this resolution to designate February as Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month.
Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. DeCheney. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Harmon. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Papley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero.
Aye.
Aye. Runner. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee. Aye.
Ayes 36, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
If I may, Madam President, permission to take up Assembly Bill 347 by Speaker Bass.
This is item 34. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 347 by Assemblymember Bass, an act relating to taxation to take effect immediately, tax levy.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Americans and Californians have responded very generously over the last month plus to support the relief effort to aid the victims of the earthquake in Haiti. In late January, President Obama signed into law bipartisan measure that allowed people to make charitable contributions up until March 1st, 2010 to be able to declare a charitable deduction for the 2009 calendar year. This California bill by our Speaker would merely conform to that federal law and allow California taxpayers to take a 2009 deduction on their California return for donating to Haiti. It's received overwhelmingly bipartisan support. We'd urge an aye vote.
Is there any discussion or debate? Is there any objection to using our unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 36, no 0. The bill is passed. Senator Steinberg, any other item?
No other item. Just to announce, if the desk is clear, that we'll have check-in session tomorrow and Wednesday. However, we're going to have session on my call as we continue to work through the issues relating to the budget, specifically the transportation issues. Thursday, we will convene in session at 9 o'clock. So we may see Tuesday, Wednesday, but certainly Thursday at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Members, the Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. Members, before we conclude, we have the unanimous roll call. We want to see if there's any objection to adding. This was on the teen awareness, violence awareness dating month. If there's any objection to adding Senators Runner, Padilla, and Maldonado to make it 39-0. No objection on AB 347.
One last thing.
Senator Steinberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I forgot to make one other important announcement. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock is the State of the Judiciary address, and we'll convene here in the Senate chambers at about 3:45 and go over it together. I just editorial comment. In the past, attendance at this event has been a little sporadic, but the issues of the judiciary around the budget and other issues relating to the judiciary are increasingly becoming front and center. And I would encourage members to come tomorrow because I think we're going to be dealing with a lot of these issues all year. 3:45 tomorrow.
Thank you, Senator Steinberg. The Senate is now in recess.